Melissa Phillips, good to see you, and thanks for talking to us today for the BBC. Happy New Year to you. It has been quite a long break, I guess almost a month since last competition going into this weekend. So how have you used that break to work with the squad?
Yeah, it's been nice for certainly all of our internationals to have some time to rest and recharge, because there's so many windows in the first half of season. So everyone got away to see families and go home, and then we've had kind of a 3-week lead in here. Obviously, we have Luton Town on the weekend, and then Bristol, and so we've used these few weeks really as a mini pre-season. We had 6 players who joined us at the very tail end of the window and missed a lot of pre-season in the messaging around principles, so we were layering in a lot throughout the first half of the season. So we've just been able to reconfirm some of those messages and just reminders of what we want to do with the ball and where we can be a bit sharper, and looking at the stats from the first half of the season and really set ourselves up to push on in the second half.
So let's focus on this weekend. It is the 4th round of the Women's FA Cup. How important is it to you and the club to do well in this competition?
I mean, the FA Cup is such a special event. The history of the tournament, the magic, as they say, and what a fantastic occasion for the matchup that we have, a Tier 5 team and a top-tier team drawing each other. I know they'll certainly be up for the game. We've prepared accordingly and are really looking forward to it. It'll be a different challenge for us as we continue to prepare to go back into the WSL games. But I think, I came in, my very first game was the FA Cup semi-final last spring against Manchester United. So the team had a great run last year, and we hope to continue that again this year.
It was a bit of a baptism of fire, wasn't it? Coming in, a matter of a few days before that huge semi-final match against Man United. What are your memories of that day, of the occasion?
Yeah, I think we travelled to the north twice in a week in a 3-match week, and it was probably a little bit of a blur coming in, but I remember anybody can win a cup game, and the fearless mentality that our team had going into that particular match, and it ended up being 3-2 and quite an exciting game. And we want to take that approach into every single FA Cup match, starting with this one on the weekend.
So looking at your opponents, I mean, all due respect to Luton, who have done incredibly well to get this far in the competition, but from your point of view, you must be thinking this is a good draw. Looking at some of the draws where you see Super League playing Super League this weekend, you must be pretty pleased with this draw.
Yeah, I think, look, we always want to make sure that we're growing and testing ourselves, and this will be a different opportunity to do that. I think we expect to be on the ball a bit, and that's something that we really want to improve at. Looking at the first half of the season is our sharpness, our movement, our ability to be available to break down opposition, to take care of the ball, to take risks in calculated areas, and it's making sure that we implement our game objectives on the weekend.
So do you see this as an opportunity to give some minutes to players who wouldn't necessarily start, or do you really need to get those top players out to get them going again, to get them switched back on?
I think a bit of both. I think it's about us getting the group up to the intensity level that the WSL requires for next weekend. But it's about making sure that everyone has an opportunity to showcase, because as you saw in the first half of the season, we rotated our squad tremendously, and a lot of different players had opportunities. So like I said, it kind of felt like a pre-season in these past few training sessions. Everyone has a starting position that's up for grabs.
Any injury concerns going into this weekend?
Obviously, we've had Madison Haley out for a little while, who is on the upside of her recovery process. We won't have Jorlyn Carabali and Charlie Rule available in the squad this weekend, but everyone else will be fresh.
And just looking at the January transfer window, there was a lot of activity for the club over the summer. So do you expect to do anything during this current transfer window?
Yeah, I think we know the project that we're working in is a long-term ambition and solution and project, and so we're actively working towards that. I think there's still a number of positions. I think January is a really interesting window, and something that myself, our technical directors, managing directors, recruitment are all very much on the same page with. It has to be the right fit coming in this window for them to hit the ground running, for them to bring the team up a level to add value to that, and we know exactly what that fit is, so we may only bring in 1 or 2 positions this window and then look to really bolster again in the summer.
And you've got a very busy month ahead in terms of fixtures, some particularly tough fixtures in the WSL, although most fixtures in the WSL are particularly tough. How do you feel going into this busy run of fixtures this month? Do you feel prepared? Do you feel that break has given you the time you need to really hit the ground running this January?
I definitely think the break has. I think we have to focus on getting a fully fit squad back in place. I think, those 3 players that I mentioned are key contributors into it, so that will be a focus of ours. But we want to grow in each game. We want to grow into this, but we know that we have to up the intensity levels. I think if we look at the final 2 games before Christmas, they aren't at the level of our expectation, and the group is very driven and focused on making sure that we hit targets, that we bring the intensity level, that we're the team that's opposition have to match with intensities in the game. So we want to really hit the ground running.
And just finally from me, do head coaches make New Year's resolutions? And if so, are you able to share any of yours with us?
We do make New Year's resolutions. No, look, I think ultimately when it comes to from a professional standpoint, we want to get this team in the top 4, and that is something that we're actively working at every single day, and very driven from within about doing. And we've never put a timeline on that, but it's something that we want to make sure that we make the best account of ourselves in the second half of season. And yeah, I've got some personal ones, of course, but I think I'll keep those.
Thanks so much for talking to us, and all the best for this weekend.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Sean?
Hi, Mel. Just want to pick up on sort of the January transfer window. Obviously, Nikki's gone back to Chelsea now. Does that mean that you'll be looking for a goalkeeper this window?
Yeah, I think that is the natural progression. So I think that's always one that's a really difficult position to bring in this time of year. Obviously, we've had a really strong goalkeeping department. Sophie Bagley has been performing exceptionally well, and so like I said before, it's about bringing in the right fit next to her that can really push her on and challenge for positions. But I would imagine we will be bringing in that department.
And Chelsea Ferguson has returned back on loan from Blackburn. What's sort of the plan with her now for the rest of the season? Yeah,
I think as with any players that you see on the men's or the women's side that go out on loan, it really is about finding the right opportunity for them to develop and will they be able to impact games. I think it's a reintegration period here for Chelsea in the first month of women's first team standards, expectations, and then making sure that she has the right opportunity to go impact and earn herself more match minutes if we send her out on loan again.
In terms of players who are already at the club, Katie Robinson's entered the final 6 months of her contract. Have discussions started with her yet? And if not, how confident are you that she will remain with the club in the future?
Yeah, discussions have been ongoing well before now with Robbo. She's obviously been at the club for some time now and has grown tremendously year in and year out. Whether she's gone on loan and come back and then really kicked her career on and had the opportunities that she's had with the England national team. She's such an exciting young talent. She's a fantastic character in terms of taking ownership over her development, her career pathway, and she's somebody that we are absolutely looking to continue working with moving forward.
One final one from me. Looking at this game, Luton will go in as heavy underdogs and you will go in as heavy favourites. Is that a good way to go about it, to be so heavily favoured for such a game?
That's the magic, isn't it? I suppose that's the magic of the FA Cup. Anything can happen on the day in a game of football, and it's important that we, like I said, bring the intensity that opposition will have to match, bring the quality in our in possession as we grow in that area, and make sure that we prepare accordingly for the opportunity to get into WSL games next weekend.